Nate, what's COVID done to impact account migrations? Has there been any changes in the first half of 2020?
A good question. What hasn't COVID impacted? It's less than you might think, but it is still real. In the U.S., it's more or less stabilized now, and the the migrations we're doing today are similar to what we were doing back in February. In Europe, it's still substantially impacted, and that is not on the account credential process transition. What I probably didn't talk about yet is that in Europe, the two paths you could go. One would be that you're buying and taking control of their European account, which up until I think a couple of months ago, you actually couldn't transfer Amazon accounts in Europe, and now you can. But what you might not know is that, as I said earlier, it takes 3 or 4 months to fully transfer them. So you could go that route. If you're not going that route, there's often what you call a listings transfer, where you're not taking control of their account, but you've got another European account that you can then bring the listings into. And that's honestly the process that we are generally doing. But the challenge now with COVID is that because of all of the log jams in fulfillment centers, if you're trying to sell a new product that you haven't sold before, Amazon is going to say that you can inbound stuff, but 50 units. You can inbound 50 units. If you just bought a brand that's selling 10,000 units of a SKU a month, that obviously is going to do nothing for you. And so you have kind of the stalemate right now where you might go through a transaction, you've got your legal entity and your account set up and ready to go, but you can't practically actually inbound product yet in any meaningful way. And so what I think you have a lot of buyers and sellers doing right now is continuing to operate from the seller's European Seller Central account, even if you control the US account. And basically, selling through that inventory that sits in the account, in the seller's European account, even if you haven't taken it over, haven't changed the banking information, until, knock on wood, we get into a world where Amazon will say, yes, you can inbound more than 50 products that you haven't sold before. We expect that will come through at some point, but again, this is something that you just want to be communicating openly with each other about, because this partnership needs to go on for several months as you're sort of co-managing an account before you can actually move stuff over. But the main impact is, again, on inbound restrictions.
Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications about new videos and interviews. And introduce yourself in the comments. Are you a buyer or a seller?